Hello, Robert Kiyosaki. I'm the best known for the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And today I'm going to talk to you about a very important subject. It's called asset protection. As you can see, sitting behind me is a big picture of a medieval castle. And the reason the rich have always had to have castles is because people always want to steal from you. Even today, some people are always stealing, lying, cheating, scamming. They go to court, you get lawsuits, you do all this stuff. Because people are people. I don't care where you are, what country you're in, there's always people who will cheat, lie, and steal. And as the economy worsens, it gets worse. So anyway, I thought I'd talk to you about asset protection, because if you're planning to be rich, you better build castles behind you. But today, we don't build castles with rock and stone. We build them with attorneys. And so I don't mean to be arrogant or flippant, but I was watching, Occupy Wall Street. All these people were yelling and screaming about the big corporations. They say they're ripping us everybody off. Well, that's your point of view, but this is my attorney here. His name is Garrett Sutton. He's a Rich Dad advisor, and he says start your own corporation. And the reason you want to start your own corporation is you're planning on being rich, you better build a castle. Because if you are stupid, like my poor dad, my poor dad was a great guy, but he lived in another era. He always said, my house is in my name. He was so proud of that, very middle class, The house is in my name. Well, my rich dad had corporations, and his house was inside a corporation, or entity, as they called. My poor dad always said, my car is in my name. And my rich dad would say, my corporation owns my car. And the reason they have corporations is because they're like these castle walls. Because I don't care if we're medieval or into the future, people will cheat, lie, and steal. Some of your best friends. One of my business partners, bless his soul, he just passed away, but he found that his wife was stealing from him. I'm going, holy mackerel. She cleaned him out, and then thank God he could get his money back. And then she sued him for divorce on top of it. So, this is the kind of world we live in. So you better have a castle. So Start Your Own Corporation is a book about asset protection. So one big thing that I've already covered with you is I don't have too much in my name. I don't want anything in my name. Because anything's in my name, some scumbag, some cheat, lie, steal, crook, hi, I'm here, I'm your friend. Yeah. They'll steal alive. They'll steal from you. So anyway, you've got to protect yourself, and that's what this book's about. And the way the rich do it is through specialized attorneys like Garrett Sutton of the Sutton Law Center, but Start Your Own Corporation. If it hadn't been for Garrett's protection, years ago, 20-something years now, I'd have lost everything. So the point here is this. If you're planning on being rich, get this book. Read about it, understand it. Build your own castle walls. It doesn't cost that much, probably $1,000 to start your own castle. But you've got to have good legal advice, good accountants, and I trust Garrett implicitly. We've tested time now. I've been hit so many times, but they just bounce off those walls. I think it's kind of funny, personally. Because in my world, the world of, let's say, the rich, the 1% that Occupy Wall Street is not happy with, is the person that sues loses. In other words, the person that sues me loses. Now, if you can imagine that, I want you to think about that for a little while. You hear about the frivolous lawsuits and all this, but the real heart, in most cases, the person who does the suing loses. This is not what you think it is in the real world. So please pay attention to asset protection, because there's no sense attempting to get rich when the world is filled with scumbags. People who will lie, cheat, steal, marry you, rape you, do whatever you want for your money. Remember this, in desperate times, desperate people do desperate things, and we are in desperate times. So cover your assets.